Good morning, my name is Alba Alcaraz Peñalba, and together with Professor Alfredo García Yernaus, we will be presenting the work entitled Environmental Cost Function for Time Series Models, Evidence for the Infor Competitions, whose authors are both Javier Capilla, Teodosio Pérez, and Ángel Valerazo, members of the ENFIELD Research Group at the Complutense University of Madrid. Okay, this is the index of our presentation. First, I will present the introduction defining the concept as red and green AI. After that, I will talk about the objective of the research. Then, I will briefly describe the methodology and the model used. The next point will be devoted to the main results, and we will finish with some final remarks. We are going to start with an introduction. In recent years, we have seen great progress in the field of artificial intelligence. Most of these advances, mainly driven by big technology companies, have also had a considerable environmental impact. Since around 2020, several academic and popular publications have started to focus on this issue, creating a new branch in AI research known as Green AI. This need is even clearer in the field of time series and their estimation algorithms. The time series literature has mostly focused on developing models that produce increasingly accurate forecasts, while the environmental impact of this method has received little attention. A good example can be found in forecast competitions such as M4 and M5, which are highly recognized in the area of predicted time series analysis. M4 competitions, for instance, focused on forecasting in terms of pointwise estimation and 95% confidence intervals, and 100,000 time series from different fields such as economics, industry, and finance. Both competitions aimed to evaluate and compare the accuracy of different time series models when applied to real-world data from various domains. They have successfully identified the most effective approach for time series forecasting, but so far they have not included metrics to measure the environmental impact of the prediction method proposed by the participants. In this context, the present work has the following main objectives. Using available and reproducible methods that competed in the Infor competitions, our goals are to measure the environmental cost of these methods, including both training and prediction phases, to build interpretable models that help us understand the main driver of CO2 emissions, to develop machine learning models that can predict the environmental cost ex ante, that is, before the training process, and finally to compare the performance of all methods using two-dimensional metric, accuracy and cost, and to propose this as more responsible criterion for model selection.
On this slide, I want to explain the 8 forecasting models we select from the N4 competition. Our goal is to capture a diverse set of approaches ranging from relatively simple statistical models to more computationally demanding ensemble methods. We included 4 ensemble methods: GROI, SCUM, PrettyLab, and THIF. The number that we have here is basically the number assigned in the N4 competition. Ensembles typically combine multiple forecasting techniques which can improve accuracy, but of course this usually means higher computational cost. For example, GROI blends 4 methods: DOTM, OTM, ETS, and ARIMA, and uses cross-validation to assign weights. This makes it computationally heavier. SCUM, on the other hand, uses a median ensemble strategy designed to be simpler and robust. PrettyLab dynamically selects the best methods per series, which introduces adaptability but also more calculations. And finally, THIF takes a completely different approach, which is basically temporal aggregation. It decomposes the series, forecasts each component, and aggregates the predictions. Then we have 4 single models. The Theta-Bocox, 4-Theta, DOTM, and ATA damped. These are more traditional and usually less resource-intensive methods. Each model also behaves differently depending on the frequency of the data it is applied to. For instance, daily data isn't the same as yearly data. This diversity gives us the perfect sample to study how algorithmic complexity and data features affect environmental costs.
Our target variable is the emissions associated with each time series. To ensure representativeness, we apply a stratified random sample based on competition weights with the sample size determined empirically through execution time test. We evaluated 8 competing forecasting algorithms while monitoring energy consumptions using Eco2AI and CodeCarbon. For modeling, we employed both interpretable approaches such as linear regression and regression trees, and less interpretable but more flexible models including random forest and XGBoost. We also consider a data preprocessing stage. This stage involves addressing inconsistencies in Eco2AI outputs, handling outliers, creating dummy variables, and conducting a detailed correlation matrix analysis to identify redundant predictors. We model the emission per series as functions of ex-ante variables, which can be classified into 3 main groups. Variables that depend on the prediction algorithm, that are algorithm use, number of standard methods of the algorithm, prediction type, if the algorithm runs in parallel or not, and number of cores used. Variables that depend on the characteristics of the series, that are length, frequency, period, number of predictions, and data type, and are a variable that depends on the CPU used.